Even animals need a rest stop when traveling long distances, but development is making it difficult for some animals to find a place to rest. That's why a scientist in southern Israel has created a sanctuary for birds migrating through the region. Without it, the birds would never be able to get where they are going. Israel 21C has more.
Professor Reuven Yosef, director of the International Birding and Research Center in Eilat, manages a way station for millions of migrating birds. Without this vital sanctuary, birds who naturally provide services that have been estimated worth in the hundreds of billions of dollars to the European market are in real threat of extinction.
They essentially leave Lake Victoria and they have a flight, non-stop flight for 3,000 kilometers, and they reach Eilat emaciated at the maximum end of their physiological capability, and they simply have to stop here. It is a stopover of 4 to 6 weeks. It's not something to be taken lightly.
Eilat sits at the southernmost tip of Israel, a connecting point between Africa and Asia, and a gateway to Europe. For tens of thousands of years, the area that is now Eilat was a salt marsh and a natural stopover to billions of migrating birds.
The thickest arrow is the one that funnels all of the birds from Africa through right over Eilat and right down the Rift Valley. Without that place, those birds have to either find somewhere else to go or those birds will be lost.
With the development of Eilat, the salt marsh was destroyed. Israeli and Dutch researchers began to notice the adverse effects this was having on bird population. Together with other encroachment on bird territories in Africa and Europe, the results were disastrous.
We humans are bringing a tractor and overnight changing a habitat and creating great distress to these bird populations, which is what we have done at Eilat.
Professor Reuven Yosef and his small staff were determined to recreate an environment which these birds could use as a way station on their long journey. They transformed the city's old dump into a viable homeland for the birds.
What we're trying to do is to replace the food source that these birds need in a natural manner. Year after year, we see the same bird. So this clearly shows that the bird populations recognize this point when they simply have to stop here.
The sanctuary represents only 7% of the total area in which the birds once lived and is their last lifeline.
The world faces an unparalleled crisis of biodiversity. Species are disappearing at an alarming rate. And had the bird park not been established, I believe that the migrating bird population would have received an irreparable blow.
However, as their budget has always been covered by donations, the present world financial crisis has dried out much of their funding, leaving this project in real threat of closing down.
Losing this project is going to be a big boomerang on us humans. The distribution of seeds, pollination in fields. I mean, there are whole crops which depend on bird pollination. And if we are going to destroy one of the major building blocks of this environment, we are the ones who are going to be the losers in the end.
This is Nitzana Bellison from Israel 21C for CNN World Report.
A very interesting report for all of us, Nitzana. Thank you. It is well known that roses can create some of the most pleasant perfumes and beauty products, and they also provide a unique flavoring for food and drinks. But in Iran, one rose in particular earns more attention and devotion than any other. Masoud Karian from IRIB Iran explains.
Iran, as a vast and sprawling country, is very rich in unique flora species. The ancient land of Iran for many centuries has been the main cultivation ground for a special rose called Gul Mohammadi, otherwise known as Damascus rose, production of rose water, other herbs, and medical flora. The rose water produced in Iran due to its very pleasant fragrance attributed to the climatic condition and cultivation techniques is world famous. The central Iranian town of Kashan and surrounding regions have the best soil and climatic condition for cultivation of Damascus rose. Rose water extraction was first developed by the known Iranian scientist and doctor Avicenna in 11th century. Rose water is also produced in Bulgaria, Turkey, Argentina, Spain, Portugal, and Switzerland. But the rose water distilled in Kashan, its original place, is quite different from its rivals. From the early days of May, when the roses become fully blown and the fragrance fills up the air, long rows of huge boiling distilling pots become a familiar scene in this part of Iran. In this season, domestic and foreign tourists from various corners of the world, including the United States, Japan, China, and Europe, come to see by themselves the process of rosewater extraction.
Each year, during the spring season in towns and villages around Kashan, especially Niasar and Qamsar, upon the blowing of blossoms, extraction of rosewater gets underway, and domestic and foreign tourists come to watch the traditional technique of distillation and enjoy the beauty of the landscape covered by rose gardens.
Rosewater, or gulab in Persian, has many healing effects and is widely used in traditional medicine. Rosewater could be used to increase the blood pH, to make it more alkalized, to give healthy and fresh appearance to dry and sensitive skins, to fight infection and pimples. Rosewater is also used in food industry as a natural flavoring and preparation of various dishes. Masoud Karian, IRIB correspondent, reporting for CNN World Report, Tehran. To become sure that rosewater is pure and of good quality, it is enough to taste it. Pure and high-quality rosewater is very bitter. The bitterness of the rosewater is a sign of its pureness, provided that the bitter taste is not the lasting one.
Coming up, an ancient boat admired and adored in the Philippines is heading out on a global adventure. Take a look. You may soon see it at a seaport near you. We'll tell you about its worldwide journey. And firefighters from around the world show off their skills as they are honored for keeping people safe.